moment when we look at mawaddah and rahmah. It's what you get out of the relationship. Thank you. Two parties performing two unilateral promises on the same subject called nikah. What is promise, and mawaddah is the doer of the promise. So to mawaddah someone is to fulfill your promise according to Allah's commands. And we do that first to our wives, and we do that to our mothers. Rahmah is what we put into the relationship, the reciprocity, the work, the mercy, the kindness, the piety. When love, waddah, is only on one side, our relationship is a painful punishment. And some of us in this room have experienced that. The Quran uses several words for the term love. Rafa, Rahmah, Waddah, Hub are all translated as love. The words appear on an average about once in every 15 ayah of the Holy Quran. If you divide these words by the 6,636 verses of the Holy Quran, we find that one of the words for love, you can divide it, comes about every 15 verses. The word hub, which is most commonly translated as love, occurs in application to Allah so frequently in the Quran that it is hardly justified to say that Islam knows only the greatness of Allah and not His love. Rahmah comes from Allah and the womb. From what? From that rahmah He dispersed many men and women. And we are told to have waqa, to protect, guard, defend, and preserve these relationships. Man is the protector over the woman. Taqwa, God-fearing, godliness, fear, ward off evil, pious duty, right conduct, righteousness, and piety. These are the things that we're called to. Waqa guards us against the evil things of their devising. Waqa guards us against distractions of the world. The first manifestation of gratitude is being grateful to our parents. This is a sign for people who are reflecting, pondering, and contemplating on Allah's mercy and rahmah. Those who aren't reflecting, they are rebelliously rejecting the truth. You're either reflecting or rejecting, one or the other. They are distracted from the signs of Allah. In Surah 6, verse 71, wandering bewildered through the earth, his friends call him, come to us, vainly guiding him. In Surah 21 and verse 1, closer and closer to mankind comes their reckoning, yet they in heedlessness are yet turning away. Every minute we are nearer to our doom, yet we become more and more heedless, actively turning away from the message that will save us. It requires being awake. It requires work to wake up and maintain these important relations. And some of us know how hard it is to wake our children up when it's a school day sometime. It requires obedience to Allah. We are not insignificant creatures. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we were in the world of the souls, placed our soul in the wombs of our mothers and gave every single person in this room a unique and divinely inspired purpose to worship none but Him. The Holy Quran says that heaven and earth is wrapped up in us. That's how important we are in the eyes of Allah. A Muslim that has a self-esteem problem is a Muslim that hasn't seen what Allah has said about them. Because when you see what Allah has said about you and what Allah has called you to, you can only love. Sakana is to inhabit, to lodge, to dwell, to repose, to rest, to be still, to be tranquil. Repose, comfort, a place of rest, dwelling, abode, calm and still. Just as the wombs of our mother was a place of stillness and calmness to us, So will the world be when we live according to the dictates of Islam. So will our marriage be whenever we live according to the dictates of Islam. And so will our children experience that when they give to their mother what is due to the mother. You know, when we treat our mother well, we have a sense of peace. When we talk to our mother in a disrespectful way, we don't feel at peace. And I believe that if I were to ask you to raise your hand, you would say that every time I ever said oomph to my mother, I felt guilty. And I wished I hadn't done that. I walked away actually angry at myself. In Surah 7, Al-Araf, verse 189, and made of him his spouse that he might rest in her. And this is what we find in the mother. We find rest in her. In Surah 30, Al-Rum, verse 21, he created for you of yourself spouses that you might repose in them, dwell in tranquility with them. Unlike animals and jinns, we are to live in harmony with them. And we know that babies rest in their mother's womb. Sakina, grace and mercy. Allah inspired peace. Sakina, peace of reassurance, calm, assurance of security. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 248, it is He who sent down the Sakina into the hearts of the believers. Sakina is what the Jews practically and physically carried around with them in the Ark of the Covenant. It was a symbol of this love and this repose that is found in the family that's nurtured, in a mother that's nurtured. When we pray, our limbs become still. They become at peace. You rest. We are taught in the Hadith that between every position of prayer there is rest. And in the family that is nurtured according to Quran and Sunnah, there is rest at every move. We're going to go from here to here, and we have rest. We're going to go from here to here, and we have repose, because we love each other, and we are garments to each other, and we are soothing each other and comforting each other. Repose is the act of resting, or the stage of being at rest. It is freedom from worry. When I am a garment to my wife and I see that she's worried, I cover her and I say, my dear, everything is going to be fine. This is in the collar of Allah. I say to her at the very stroke of calamity, we adopt sabr. And my dear, we need to be patient. And I reassure her and she reassures me. Calmness and tranquility, to rest or relax. And Allah says that among His signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the variations in your languages and your colors. Verily, and that are signs for those who know. And among His signs is the sleep that ye take by night and by day, and the quest that ye make for livelihood out of His bounty. Verily, and that are signs for those who hearken. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us all from dust, all different colors. And if you look at this room, you see that beautiful sea of colors. And He spread us out in the world with all this different dust that He created us from. This is our origin and our destiny. The first beginnings of social life arise through copulation and love. To understand this, we have to reflect. See the unity amongst the diversity of dust and speech. Day and night brings extended awareness and knowledge. Our psychological conditions require sleep and rest and vision and insight, to which we must hearken to reach spiritual elevation. Lightning is a great metaphor to look at when we look at these issues, the very deepness of the tranquility found in our mothers and the mercy found in our mothers. The power that a mother has is like lightning. Just as lightning can kill and destroy, lightning brings light. It brings and heralds rain and fertility and prosperity. So we have in this room mothers that are guided by Quran and Sunnah. We have mothers that are truly the wombs of the earth, that have obeyed Allah, have breastfed their children, and have done the things that Allah has said to do. Lightning brings fear or hope. Mothers that operate according to Islam that we revere bring hope. If we are asleep, we know that our soul leaves us, and when in the morning it comes back to us. We need the lightning to wake us up from our distraction. And our mothers so beautifully do that. They see us going down a wrong path and they say, Habibi, Habibati, you don't want to do that. And they say, I don't. And you'll say, well, maybe you think you do, but you really don't. Because that will not please Allah. And they do that much better than fathers, because when fathers put their hand down and they don't have that same kind of love, what do children do? So often rebel. But moms have that tenderness. Mother of the book, we hear. Ummahat, the abode of essence. Waladat, to bear, to give birth, to beget, the one to whom a child is born. In Surah Miriam, he hath made me kind to my mother, and not overbearing and miserable. So peace is on me, the day I was born, the day that I die, and the day that I shall be raised up to life again. I think the correlation of this verse is phenomenal when it comes to the reverence that we are commanded to give our mothers. No religion that I know of gives the respect to the mother that Islam gives. Allah has not made for any man two hearts in his one body, nor has he made your wives whom you divorce by zihr to be like your mother's backs, nor has he made your adopted sons your sons, such as only your manner of speech by your mouths, but only Allah tells you the truth and he shows you the right way. He has not made two hearts in one breast, two inconsistent attitudes, such as serving Allah in the world. Man cannot love two women and equal love. We all know that the Prophet ﷺ said he leaned toward one of his wives. An evil Arab custom was for the husband to selfishly deprive his wife of her conjugal rights and keep her to himself like a slave. When we make our wives like a mother, we cannot have peace with them. We cannot derive conjugal rights, because that would be called incest, that provide tranquility. Our wife has a special maqam and a special station. So what I'd like to do at this point in the class is I would like to ask all of the mothers to come up to the front of the room with their children. So there won't be many people left in the audience, but that's fine. So all the mothers will come up, please.
You
can turn the camera off, it's fine.